Come to Helmuth Ford, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Hi, this is Stacy from Shetler Insurance Services. Come see me on the east side of the square in Sigourney for all your insurance needs.
Steve Shetler Media once again proudly presents Pekin High School football live video streams each Friday night this fall with home and away games and the playoffs. Tune in Friday nights for Pekin High School football right here on Steve Shetler Media, Facebook, and YouTube.
Delta Fire and Rescue presents their annual haunted house every Friday and Saturday in October. The haunted house is located at the Delta, Iowa Fire Station, 103 North 2nd Street in Delta. Doors open from 8 p.m. to midnight. Tickets are $15. Food and drinks are available to purchase. It's the Delta Fire and Rescue Haunted House. Come and be scared, if you dare.
Commotion, a tribute to the music of Creedence Clearwater Revival, is coming back to the Watch Year Opera House in Watch Year, Iowa this Saturday at 7 p.m. Tickets are $35 for adults and $17.50 for 18 and under. Purchase in advance at watchyearoperahouse.org or buy your tickets at the door. It's the band Commotion this Saturday night at 7 at the Watch Year Opera House. Experience Oskaloosa presents Booze and Brews Friday, October 24th from 4 to 7:30 p.m. at various locations in Oskaloosa. It's a shopping event for adults 21 plus. Drinks, snacks, and deals at participating stores. There will be prizes, a costume contest, and tram rides available. And music by Jake Beatty at Full Bloom Brew House. For complete info and a list of participating stores, visit Experience Oskaloosa on Facebook.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Judy Grunendijk. I'm a member of Experience Oskaloosa. We are a group of retailers here in town that we dedicate ourselves to fun shopping events. So if you're going to spend your money, come to our events. Just a couple shout outs here. One to Steve Shetler Media over here. He's going to be live streaming. And to the Extension Office here for letting us host this event here. To John Nelson for being our moderator, and to the candidates, Andy Holberg and Nick Ryan and Jen Sword. And we thought it'd be appropriate to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd also like us to thank Judy for all of her work. It's been good to see you behind the scenes. Thank you so much for all your work. Tonight, just for all of those who've gathered and also for the candidates, all the questions have been given to the candidates previously, beforehand, so they can formulate answers to the questions that we have. And there will just be a 2-minute time limit to each of those. Each candidate will have an opportunity to answer the question for 2 minutes. If they use all that time, I will just raise a hand and it's going over, or if you're finished before that, it's fine. We'd just like to hear what your thoughts are towards all the issues that will be presented. I think, yeah, we're good for this now. I had names drawn out of the hat at church today, so who would start? And so, Andy, you were selected first today, and what we'll have is then Javin, you have the next question, and then Nick. And there were a few candidates that did want us to read some of their answers here since they weren't able to be here, but obviously that won't take a full 2 minutes. So first off, with Andy, first of all, thank all of you for being willing to serve and to have the courage to be involved and to serve our community. Thank you. We love our community, and we're excited to see where this leads. First of all, Andy, what motivated you to run for city council, and what do you hope to achieve?
What motivated me to run for, well, first I'd like to say thank you to everybody that came. Thank you for putting this event on, and certainly John, thank you for moderating. What motivated me to run is I've always had a servant type of attitude or approach to certainly my adult life in and around Oskaloosa. And that opportunity presented itself with this city council position, and so I certainly wanted to put my name in the hat and potentially be part of that. I've been fortunate enough to be appointed, and so I've been able to serve in that short capacity, and I'm certainly hoping for another 4 years. The timing is right for me. My children are grown. I was very involved in their activities while they were in school, and I wanted to be part of that and be a tight-knit family. With that said, I'm hopeful that I can see property taxes reduced in Oskaloosa. I'm hopeful to see sewer rates reduced in Oskaloosa. And I would like to see small and or large businesses be able to grow and or establish themselves in Oskaloosa. My hope is to see property taxes reduced, sewer rates reduced, and part of the way we get there is by increasing and growing our tax base. That is why I put my name in this hat.
Perfect. Thank you. Javin, what motivated you to run for city council?
Sure, just a little bit. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. Both of my parents were truck drivers. From them, I learned real hard work, right? I married my high school sweetheart, and a few later, we had our daughter, Veda, was born. We started with very little. We actually lived in a mobile home. My daughter received WIC. I worked days and went to school at night. Graduated from DeVry as the first person in my family to graduate college. I wrote software for small companies, then for Ford, then for Raytheon, then finally Wells Fargo, where I helped build systems that managed 1 in 3 mortgages in our country. Even then, I keep teaching part-time at William Penn University because I wanted others to have the same chance that I did. Eventually, I left corporate life and teach full-time now, moved to Oskaloosa, a place that really feels like home. My goal now is simple. I want to bridge education, entrepreneurship, and city leadership so that Oskaloosa can thrive in a digital age. Imagine a system, for example, where residents can check the status of their street repair or permits from their phone, right? No waiting, no guessing. That's kind of the transparency and the efficiency that we can do working together and build that kind of system here.
Thank you. Nick, same question. What motivated you to run?
Yeah, just again, thanks to everybody who helped put this on. Thank you all for being here. I got involved in local politics about 15 years ago as part of a property rights fight related to the South Central Regional Airport. Several years down the road, a few years ago, I had the opportunity to participate in the city's strategic planning session under the leadership of former city manager Amal El-Tahir. Part of that experience is part of what has motivated me to run, and that is I have seen what I view as a disconnect and seeing how disconnected our local government has become from a big number of the people that it's supposed to serve. There are too many major decisions that have been made behind closed doors with very little public input and even less accountability. I have spent years showing up to city council meetings, school board meetings, airport meetings, studying documents, asking tough questions, because I believe the people of Oskaloosa deserve to know what's really going on. I am running to bring honesty, sunlight, and common sense back to city government where I feel it has been absent. My goal isn't to play politics, it is to rebuild trust. I want to create a city hall that listens, communicates openly, and earns back the confidence of the everyday taxpayer. If we can get transparency right in Oskaloosa, if we can make government something that people can understand and believe in again, prosperity will follow. I believe Oskaloosa has the potential to be a truly thriving creative hub for small businesses, tourism, live entertainment. My mission is to help make this city a place where opportunity lives, where talent stays, and where every single voice counts.
Thank you. I'm going to read from Rhonda Allman. She submitted just a paragraph. I'd like to share that with you now. Rhonda said, I would say that I ran for council because I wanted to represent the majority of Oskaloosa. I feel as a council we need to focus on this. Being out in the field for my job every day, I see a different side of Oskaloosa than everyone else. People are hurting financially. We need to focus on these issues. Housing is a huge issue. Jobs and growth are a huge issue. We need housing, however, but we don't need $400,000 houses. We need $150,000 to $200,000 houses. A strong community needs three things to survive: jobs, housing, and safety, and we need to focus on this. Also, Janet Herbson submitted an answer as well. She says, I'm running to inspire and empower the next generation to recognize that their voices matter. Change doesn't require permission. It starts with each of us stepping forward. I want young people to see that leadership is within reach and that together we can shape a future that reflects our values and aspirations. All right, thank you all very much for that first question. So, Janet, you will be up this time. The question is, what do you think about the city's strategic plan?
Sure. When I read Oskaloosa's city's strategic plan, I actually see more than a document there. I see a promise, right? A promise that we're not just planning, but we're going to solve real issues that families face every day. I appreciate that it focuses on things that you can actually see and feel in that document. Affordable housing, good jobs, safe neighborhoods, a lively downtown. My background's in data and technology, but strategy only matters if it leads to viable progress. It's only one thing to talk about like workforce development. It's another to see the students graduate with job offers because the cities, the school, the local businesses are working together to make that happen. We're already seeing innovative spirit here in Oskaloosa, from the creativity behind the Spirit Cafe, which brings energy and connection downtown, to the Trio Entertainment Complex designed to draw people into Oskaloosa from the highway and show them everything that the community has to offer. And I see that same momentum in the work I do with my students, helping local businesses solve real problems through technology and creativity. What matters now is consistency, doing the basics well and focusing on results. If we measure progress openly, celebrate small wins, Oskaloosa can continue to be a model for how a community moves forward together. This plan gives us a foundation for a strong, connected, and forward-looking Oskaloosa, already providing what innovation looks like in action.
Thank you. Nick, you'll be up next.
So again, I was fortunate enough to be able to actually participate in putting together the strategic plan. What I noticed during that session was who was in the room and who wasn't. What I think some of the people in this room have heard me refer to as the usual suspects for most of the people that made up that room, and the ordinary, everyday, hardworking, tax-paying citizen of Oskaloosa was horrendously underrepresented in that group. And I understand we want to have leaders and smart people and executives and lawyers and bankers, because they make the world go round, but without the rest of us, we're really falling short. I think the strategic plan has some solid aspirations, but like a lot of plans, an ounce of execution is worth a pound of planning. But fell short in execution. It falls short in accountability. It falls short in representing the everyday Oskaloosan. But a real plan isn't just a wish list, like Javin said. It's a promise. It is a contract with the public that includes clear goals, measurable outcomes, and consequences for inaction. If I'm elected, I will advocate for a results-driven version of that plan, one that is easy for citizens to follow, participate in, with quarterly progress reports available online for everybody to see. I want to see benchmarks that are tied to things that actually improve people's everyday lives. Better infrastructure, more local business growth, safer neighborhoods, which comes with taking really very good care of our first responders in a downtown that is vibrant all year round, even past 5 o'clock. My vision is for a transparent plan where the people of Oskaloosa can see not just where their tax dollars are going, but what they're getting in return for it. And that is how we build a city that people are proud of, one that's not run from the top down, but powered by the voices and ideas and people who live here.
Andy, what do you think about the city's strategic plan?
I think it's a very robust plan. I think that certainly cities have to have a plan, or they're not going to like where they end up, or worse than that, they will end up in a place that they absolutely don't like. I think it's a good way for checks and balances. I think it's a progress report, if you will. Our current plan is available on the Oskaloosa City website. And so our citizens are able to go and check progress and see where priorities are. And certainly with that information, then they're able to provide input. They're able to potentially come to council meetings and voice that input, and certainly can reach out to city government officials, council members, and provide that input on a one-on-one basis. I think the 4 areas of that plan are pretty broad encompassing and do allow us to focus on priorities and drive towards results and measure those results. And as like any plan, they are going to be adaptable. They are going to be changed over time. Certainly priorities can be changed, and certainly results are going to drive those priorities to change. So I'm certainly glad to see that we have one in place and that we do review that on a quarterly basis. And at this point in time, I think it's a good roadmap for our future.
Thank you. And Janet, her answer to this question, we have a lot of items on it. We need to continue to review and update the plan with the city, what the city needs. I believe our city manager is doing a fantastic job helping reduce the number of items so we can focus on those areas. All right, we are back to Nick. We'll start with you on this question. What knowledge, skills, and or abilities do you bring to the table that you think will help you be an effective city council member?
So I come from, the real world, and one that, I think the most important background for me is that I have spent most of my life here. Oskaloosa is absolutely home to me, but, I didn't come out of the political world. I've worked in business. I've got a background in sales, marketing, entertainment. I do know how to take an idea and turn that into something that works. As a small business owner, as a musician, and a community advocate, I have learned how to connect with people from all walks of life. I've learned how to communicate a vision and get things done on very, very limited resources. Those skills translate directly to effective city leadership. I know how to listen, I know how to analyze, and how to build buy-in around a shared goal. I also understand branding and communication, 2 things that Oskaloosa desperately needs right now to grow its local economy, attract more visitors, and retain more talent, and kind of prevent any more of that brain drain from happening here. But the most important thing I think that I bring to the table is real independence. I am not tied to any big business or political network or any big corporation or special interest. I answer only to the residents of Oskaloosa. I will bring a fresh set of eyes, a backbone for accountability, and a communicator's heart for connection. And together, that's how we can build a government that's open, responsive, dedicated to the success of every Oskaloosan.
Thank you. We're going to go back to Andy now. Andy, what knowledge, skills, and abilities do you bring to the table that you think will help be an effective city councilman?
I would say the skills, knowledge, and abilities that I bring to the table really come from 3 buckets. Those 3 buckets are my education. After high school, I went to college and I earned a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, History with a minor in business. And then after about 5 or 6 years at work, I went back and went to school part-time and earned a Master's in Business Administration degree. The other 2 buckets I would have to say, certainly work. Work has been a place that I was able to learn a lot more than any educator was able to teach me. And that work experience where I worked for people, where I worked with people, and then also had employees who worked for me, taught me an awful lot and gave me a lot of understanding about how to deal with people and how to get things done, how to work towards common goals. I would also have to say that my community involvement is another big area where I've gained knowledge, ability, and skills. I was a 27-year member of the Civil Service Commission, actually chairman for that 27-year period. Only had to resign after I accepted the position as the at-large council member recently. In addition to that, I volunteered for countless youth activities, outdoor sports, recreation type things, where I was entrusted with not just my children's well-being, but certainly those of community members, and able to teach them a lot about teamwork and building relationships, getting along, working towards common goals, etc. In addition to that, I volunteered with the Mahaska Health Foundation for 10 years. I served on the Run in the Sun committee with that organization, where we spent a lot of time promoting and supporting the Serenity House in Oskaloosa.
Sure. What I want to say is I'm a doer. I'm a builder. My career's been about taking notes off a piece of paper and making them real. At Wells Fargo, I helped lead one of the largest technology transformations in the company history, building document systems that handle the 1 of 3 mortgages in the U.S. Started as sketches on a whiteboard, right, and became a nationwide platform used by thousands of people. That taught me how to lead teams, deliver results, and build things that last. One project I'm especially proud of was rural crop insurance systems, helping the farmers get the support they paid for when disaster struck, right? We turned complex rules into working code so that payments reached people faster. That's what technology's for. That's what it should do, is serve people. Here in Oskaloosa, I've worked with my students to help local businesses solve real problems, using technology, creativity, and teamwork. What I bring to the council is the ability to listen, collaborate, and deliver, to turn plans into measurable results, and align people to around shared goals, right? So when I look at Oskaloosa's plan, I don't just see goals. I see opportunities to move us from the planning that we've done to progress that we can make.
Thank you. And Janet's answer to this question is fiscal responsibility, contracts, and volunteering. So those are her answers. So we are back to Andy to give our first answer here. The question is, the conduct of city council members, especially during council meetings, has far-reaching impacts on how residents, developers, employees, and other community partners feel about the city. What will you do at council meetings to ensure the city has a positive image?
The first thing I would say is I will actively promote and I will sign what I'll refer to as a civility pledge. We may call that something else. We've talked about it a couple times at recent council meetings, but it's essentially just a framework of how we want to treat one another, how we want to conduct our business, and how we want to perform our responsibilities. With that said, I've always prided myself on focusing on issues and not personalities. Certainly when you have conflict or disagreements, that has to be a priority or things can deteriorate pretty rapidly. Mutual respect is another area that I strive to obtain, if you will. It can't be one-sided and certainly has to be earned from other folks. I may not always agree with people, but I will certainly agree to disagree honorably and civilly. And I would say that those characteristics are essential for good government.
Thank you. Jack?
Sure, I think the way we act in meetings shows how we lead, right? The best image Oskaloosa can project is simple: let's do the job well. That means showing up prepared, staying focused, and treating every discussion with respect. I've led tough meetings, executives, regulators, engineers, where the pressure ran sky high. I turned that trust I had built into calm, clarity, and follow through, not volume. If we focus on facts before opinions, professionalism before politics, and solutions before speeches, the city image will take care of itself. Transparency is part of that. Residents deserve to see not just what we decide, but why. I'll make sure our work is clear, data-driven, and accessible. And it's the little things, responding quickly, summarizing clearly, celebrating the wins, create that pride and trust in our community. So my approach is simple: show up, do the work, be professional, and be transparent. If we do that consistently, Oskaloosa's image will speak for itself and will be steady, capable, and service-minded.
Nick?
So how we behave in those meetings says a lot about who we are as a community. I do take that very, very seriously. You can count on me that I will be there prepared, I will be focused, I will be respectful, not just to other council members, but to members of the public who take time out of their day to come attend those meetings, watch, and voice their concerns, their hopes, their aspirations, and their dreams to the city council. Professionalism for me doesn't necessarily though mean avoiding hard topics. It means handling them with honesty and composure. I will always keep the discussion about ideas and outcomes, never personalities. My goal is to elevate the tone of those meetings so that residents can feel proud of how the city conducts its business. Transparency is part of that image. When people see their government acting with integrity, asking clear questions, explaining their decisions, and being accountable for the results, it builds confidence. And I want Oskaloosa to be known as a place where local government actually listens and leads by example. That being said, there will be times we disagree. My role on the city council is to fight for the people I represent. I am no stranger to that now. I intend to continue to do that. Again, I will handle myself with professionalism and respect and composure, but I guarantee you I will not back down from a fight.
All right, and Janet's answer to this question: we as a council have a responsibility to be cordial with each other. We can agree to disagree on items, but we have to respect one another. If someone is in question, we need to reach out to the other council member and work through items in private, not during a meeting. I do believe we need to adopt a code of conduct, but it needs to be comprised from the city council's input. All right, Jack, the next question that we will entertain this evening. City council is responsible for the decisions it makes on behalf of the community. How will you hold yourself and other council members accountable for your decisions?
Sure, accountability isn't about blame, it's about ownership. If we want progress, we must take responsibility for results, not just votes. When I worked on the rural crop insurance systems, accountability wasn't optional. Farmers depended on accurate, timely payments after disasters. We used data to flow through to get it right every time. That's what accountability looks like. Not talk, but action. I bring the same mindset here in teaching, community service, and problem solving. Accountability also means transparency. Residents should be able to see progress through clear updates, open reports, open data dashboards, showing where we succeeded and where we can improve. If there's something not working, let's fix it. If it is, let's build upon it. Oskaloosa has a huge potential. Innovation, talent, heart. If we stay consistent, transparent, and data-driven, we'll keep that momentum going. Accountability is how we turn good plans into real results, and how we build trust just one decision at a time.
So, accountability starts with transparency, and it needs to apply to everybody, not just the city council, but government-wide throughout the city. Every decision that the council makes, and for the most part, it needs to be clear, documented, and explained in plain language for the public. As a council member, I will push for easy-to-understand summaries of major actions. I think we do a good job of that already, but I want that to continue. Available online, shared openly with residents, obviously, and for my part, I will be reporting back directly to the public. I will use my communication experience to create short, consistent updates explaining what was voted on, why it matters, and how it impacts everybody's everyday life here in Oskaloosa. And if I do make a mistake, you can bet I will own it publicly. You have seen me do that online multiple times. I have been known to get it wrong every once in a while. And when I do, I'll be the first person you hear about it from. But I also want to, as a council member, not just encourage, but demand a culture of accountability, where that is not just expected and not feared. But when people see that their government can admit the mistakes that they've made in the past, and course correct from there, it helps build trust. My goal is to create a government that operates in the open, one that is not afraid to shine a light on itself because it's proud of the work that it's doing for the people.
I'll hold myself accountable by first saying that I am accountable to God. I'm accountable to my family, and certainly as a council member, accountable to the citizens of Oskaloosa. I would say people are able to reach out to me and get a hold of me in whatever way they would like, whether that's in person, through email, phone call, etc. And I'm open to feedback, even if it's not pleasant, as long as it's delivered in a civil and courteous way. That's part of being an elected official. That's actually part of being an adult and working in the real world, if you will. Again, I would say, I won't always agree with everybody, but I will agree in a civil and polite manner. I'm open to be persuaded when my opinions differ from those that I'm working with or talking with, as long as I don't have to compromise on core values and core principles. Certainly part of government is the art of persuasion, and I think that's part of accountability, when you're open to that and willing to be persuaded.
And Janet's answer to this question, remind them they are elected by their constituents, and we're here to make policy and improve the betterment of the community. They should not be running for a personal agenda. We serve you. All right. Final question that we have for this evening, then. Will you start with Nick? What qualities do you think are essential for effective leadership, and how would you demonstrate those qualities as a council member?
So, to me, effective leadership comes down to three things, and that is integrity, courage, and communication. Integrity, and this goes back to my service in the Air Force, our core values were integrity first. Integrity keeps you honest even when it is inconvenient. Courage keeps you standing when you're standing alone. And communication keeps people informed and engaged. I plan to lead by example in all three of those areas. I will tell the truth even when it's uncomfortable. I will ask the hard questions and defend the public's right to know and to be involved. And I will use every tool available to me, from social media to community events, to keep our citizens informed, involved, and engaged. Leadership is not about titles, it's not about control, it is about service and responsibility. It's about earning people's trust through action. And if I can help make local government something people feel proud of again, something open, competent, and fair, I think that's leadership worth having. And I would consider it an honor and a privilege to be able to do that here in town that I call home and love.
All right, we're going to go Andy and then Gavin, you'll finish up.
First and foremost, I think qualities that are essential for effective leadership are leading by example. I've certainly tried to practice that throughout my life in various leadership roles that I've had. I think as a leader, you have to be willing to make difficult decisions, and in some cases, even when those decisions aren't always popular. That's part of being a leader. I think you certainly have to establish, build, and maintain trust with your counterparts, with the citizens of Oskaloosa, and those that you are leading. I think you gain respect by showing up, and I think that's essential for any leader, to be respected, to be present, show up, and be accountable. And I would finally close by saying that I would liken my leadership style to what is called, or a term called, shepherd leadership. And I think with shepherd leadership, you provide with provision, if you will, you protect, and you are present. 3 P's. And on top of that, you have to be willing to sacrifice. And I think as a leader, sacrifice comes in various terms, but that is an essential part of good leadership, those 4 qualities.
So I agree with Nick. Leadership starts with integrity, right? Doing what's right when no one's watching. At Wells Fargo, I had led high-pressure projects, right? I learned that leadership isn't loud, it's steady. You listen, you clarify, you stay calm. As a professor, I learned that progress takes patience. Sometimes you explain things 5 different ways until someone gets that click and understanding. That's the kind of leadership Oskaloosa needs, some steady, honest, and patient leadership. I try to lead with an innovator's curiosity, a teacher's patience, and a neighbor's heart. So curiosity drives me to ask that, well, what if, right? What if? To find better, smarter, faster ways to serve, right? The patience reminds me that change takes time and understanding. And a neighbor's heart keeps me grounded, listening first, caring deeply, and remembering that behind every policy is a person, a family, and a community. If we lead with curiosity, patience, and heart, Oskaloosa won't just grow, it'll thrive together.
All right, and Janet's answer to this question, qualities about leadership. Servant leadership needs to be at the core of everyone on the council, open-minded, willing to put in the effort needed to get the job done, responding to their constituents in a timely manner, listening to their concerns, and providing communication and education on items when needed. Also be willing to make hard decisions even when they are not popular, because everyone is never going to agree with you. Friends, I want to thank you this evening. Thank you for your preparation. Thank you for letting us see who you are and how you would lead. Can we thank our candidates this evening? And so that concludes this forum this evening. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.